Hi, Gloria. Also, will it be possible to mute all participants apart from like the people presenting, just to avoid the extra voices during the presentation? Thank you.
Gloria, you're not audible.
Hear me?
Yes, now we can hear you. You can start again.
I've been talking. Oh, so sorry about that. I don't know what happened. Okay, so good afternoon. It's afternoon over here in Nigeria. So many thanks for joining us today. On this webinar, we have Susan, we have Chiamaka, Wim, and Kathy. So we'll be speaking, Chiamaka will be speaking to us today on the difference between biopharma and biotech and how to find the right track. So during the course of this webinar, if you have any question, please kindly drop them in the chat box below, and I'll be reading it out to Chiamaka or any of the representatives to answer them. So I'll be handing over now to Chiamaka. Chiamaka, can you hear me?
Yes, I can. Thank you.
Oh, all right, Chiamaka.
Hi, everybody. Good afternoon in Nigeria and good morning wherever you are. My name is Chiamaka, and let me just quickly share my screen. My name is Chiamaka, and I work with UCD Global Middle East and Africa. I am the Africa Recruitment Manager for UCD. I look after Africa in terms of admissions and recruitment activities. Today, I will not be the one presenting. I have two professors here on the call to assist you with all the questions that you may have. So I'm just here to briefly tell you what this webinar is about and just to shed more light on what to expect. So the three major things they are here to shed more light on the courses. They're here to answer questions that you may have, and we're also here to foster a relationship between UCD and you being a prospective student coming to UCD. So you're going to hear a presentation by Professor Vim, who is the head of the School of Biomolecular and Biomedical Science. And then, oh, that's a typo, you're going to hear a presentation by Susan McDonnell, who is the Associate Professor of School of Chemical and Bioprocess Engineering. And then we're going to have Q&A, and then that will be the end of the webinar. So I'm going to hand over to Professor Vim to start his presentation. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much. I hope you can see this. So my name is Wim Meijer. I am a professor of microbiology and also the director of the MSc Biotechnology program, but I'm here to talk about the other programs as well. So Ireland is, of course, a country which is relatively small compared to many other countries. However, it is a global biomedical development and manufacturing hub. So if you look at the companies that are present in Ireland as far as biotechnology is concerned, or biopharmaceuticals, biotherapeutics, every single major global company is located in Ireland. So you can see from the names here that include things like Abbott, Pfizer, Eli Lilly. So many world names are here. And that means that the Irish economy is largely an export company, especially in the areas of pharmaceutical industries. One of the reasons the companies are here is because there's a very good investment climate, which is nurtured by the Irish government. But also Ireland has a very highly educated workforce, which obviously makes it an attractive destination for global companies. Now, this is some examples. So these are recent investments in the country. So last year there was well over €1 billion in investment by various companies. So that means that these companies expand their businesses in Ireland, and as a result, there is an increased need for highly skilled employees in all disciplines, but particularly in the areas of the pharmaceutical companies or the biotechnology and biotherapeutics. Now, if we look at our schools, so UCD has a number of schools. Our school, the UCD School of Biomolecular and Biomedical Science, has 5 undergraduate programs, which you see at the top. So biochemistry, genetics, micro, neuroscience, and pharmacology. And based on that, we have developed a number, 6 MSc programs. So 5 of those are listed here. And when you look at these programs, they have been developed in association with our industry partners. So companies very often contact us to ask us about how many students will graduate. There's a clear need for them. And therefore, our programs are developed bearing our industry partners and their needs in mind. So we train students for a wide range of things, including pharmaceuticals, foods, cosmetic, medical devices, and so on. And the lectures and other teaching materials are delivered not just by the staff in our own school, but we also invite industry leaders and other experts to come in to provide training for our students. Now, if you would engage in any of our programs, so there are 5 listed here, then there's a mixture of ways how we are teaching our students. So we do the traditional lectures that they are important, but in addition, there are tutorials, workshops, and then group work and mentor meetings are also important. Group work is important because as you leave the MSc program and you will start working in a company or whatever you wish to do after, it is very rare that you work on your own. So teamwork is absolutely essential, and we want you to learn how to work as part of a team. Now, the assessment of your work is also varied. So we have traditional end of trimester exams, but in addition, there is lots of continuous assessment, and that may take the form of reviews or written reports and so on. So it is a very diverse way of assessing your progress. And sometimes, as it says in the bottom, sometimes you work individually and you be assessed individually. Sometimes you're be assessed as part of a team, simply because you have to learn how to work as part of a team and succeed as part of a team. Now, we have 2 types of programs, as you can see here. So I will only talk about the top 4 there. So we have an MSc in biotechnology and biotherapeutics. So those are the top 2. In the middle, you see MSc in biotechnology and business and biotherapeutics and business. And these programs we developed in collaboration with the Michael Smurfit Business School, located south of our main campus. And the Smurfit Business School ranks in the top 50 business schools in the world. So it is a fairly prestigious organization. And we have developed these programs to cater to students who may have a science background, want to know more about biotherapeutics or biotechnology, but see their careers not so much in the research or development, but more in the business side of things. So straddling science and business, and that's why we have developed these programs. Now, the programs are all 1 year. So 1 year is split up in 3 trimesters. And in total, there are 90 credits that you need to complete a program. So 30 credits roughly for each trimester. And they are a combination of both taught and research-based modules. Now, if you look at the MSc Biotechnology and Business, so biotechnology, in contrast to biotherapeutics, is fairly wide. So it ranges from environmental biotechnology, so how to use, for example, microbes in wastewater treatment, for example, or in the food industry, or in the pharmaceutical industry. So it is a quite broad biotech program. And we will broaden and deepen your knowledge there. And as I said, the applications are in many different areas, ranging from drug development, food sciences, but also environmental biotechnology. So quite broad. The biotechnology and business is a program that includes the business modules and a case study or business plan. So these are worth 30 credits. And the MSc Biotechnology program also has a trimester of 30 credits, in which you either do a university placement, so within UCD, or you do an internship with a company, and that depends a bit on your interest. So some students see themselves working in industry, they would choose an internship. There are other students who see themselves more going on into research, and they would like to do a research placement. If you look at the type of modules, so that's the top part, you see that they're, again, quite broad, so ranging from biological imaging, food biotechnology, environmental biotechnology, drug development, and pharmacology. So it spans the entire area of biotechnology. And when you ask yourselves, where do you go? Well, there's a wide range of companies that take our students, because as I said, you can invest in a country and build a factory or build a research facility. Of course, you need the people to actually make it work. And that's where, of course, we come in. So these are the common graduate destinations. So the biotherapeutics and business, they focus. These programs focus on biologics. So these are compounds produced by cells. And over the last decades, this has become a very, very important area in applications. For example, in medicine, in diabetes treatment, arthritis, cancer, and so on. This has become a multi-billion-dollar industry. So the biotherapeutics program focuses on these biologics, and you learn how these things are developed, how they are produced, how to do research to find new ones. So you can see those topics on the modules on the left. And again, there is a biotherapeutics MSc, and there you do a university research laboratory project, which you do in groups of 2. Or you buy MSc Biotherapeutics and Business. In that case, the 30 credits are going to a case study and a business plan. Now, the and business ones, so the business modules, are, as I said, delivered by the Smurfit Business School, which is one of the top business schools in the world. And there you can see that they will deliver a range of business modules, which ranges from corporate finance, the business of biotechnology, but also the development of business plans and getting insight into marketing management. Now here is an overview. So I don't expect you to read this in great detail, but it just shows you roughly or not roughly, exactly the structure. So on the top half in biotechnology and biotherapeutics, you see the so-called core modules. These are modules that you have to take. They're mandatory. And usually, but not always, there are 5 credits. And then in biotherapeutics and biotechnology, you will have 60 credits after 2 trimesters. And then the 3rd trimester is done with a MSc project or an internship. And then there are a bunch of option modules, which you see in the bottom half. So the option modules are to give you the additional 30 credits that you need. And that is up to you. You can choose whichever module you like based on your own interests. So these are biotechnology and biotherapeutics. And then for the biotechnology and business and biotherapeutics and business, again, you see that there is a number of fixed modules you have to take, slightly more in biotherapeutics than in biotechnology. And then there are a number of option modules that you can take depending on your interest and, of course, also your previous training. So if you have already if you already know certain topics, then you can do something different. Now, Ireland or school is ranked number 1 for graduate employability, and that bears out in, for example, where our students go. So 80% of our graduates usually have employment within 3 months after graduation, and students who take a internship, about 35% have already employment before they even leave UCD. So there is a very large demand for our students, which of course is good. Now, these are the people involved. So I am the director of the biotechnology program, but you also see the others who are looking after biotherapeutics, the and business programs. And then a separate program is regulatory affairs and toxicology, which I haven't spoken about today. So I would like to thank you for your attention. And if you have any questions, then you can let us know.
Wim, can you stop sharing so I can share? Thank you. All right, so while that's just loading up, let me just say good morning and just bear with me 1 minute, like into slideshow mode. All right, so hopefully then everybody can see that. So thank you very much for the opportunity to speak. First of all, my name is Susan MacDonald, and I am in the School of Chemical and Bioprocessing here in UCD. And I'm also the program director for our Masters in Biopharmaceutical Engineering. So again, similar to Wim, I just want to go through some of the, apologies for that. So our school is the oldest and highest ranked chemical engineering school in Ireland. And that's our building there in the background with the lake in front of us. The school will actually celebrate 70 years in 2026. We're a relatively small school in comparison to Vim School. We have 16 full-time academic staff, and of that 16, 4 are joint appointments with NIBRD, and that's the National Institute for Bioprocessing Research and Training. And this is a kind of separate facility on the campus. Is actually a GMP manufacturing scale. They've recently expanded and they now have a cell and gene therapy facility as well. So our students, as part of one of our modules, yes, there was some background noise there. Our students spend some time there as well. And you can see the numbers. So we've about 40 PhD students, 25 on our masters in engineering, chemical engineering, and then in terms of the biopharmaceutical engineering, we have about 40 students in total. And I think it's important that our focus is very much on the biopharmaceutical engineering. And the slide after this, I'll kind of explain where we kind of fit in. Again, the key thing about our program is that we provide training in the skills required for working in both biopharma and pharma. And our program has been running since 2006. And I think the key thing is that it's suitable for both science and engineering graduates. And we specifically designed the program for science and engineering. And I have to say that the majority of our graduates would be science graduates, and they come from a wide range of disciplines. Our average class size is between 20 and 25. Our graduates have found employment both nationally and internationally. And then, similar to what Vim mentioned, the school gives support for finding jobs. We have a career specialist who's devoted to engineering. There are numerous career fairs in UCD and also in NIBRD. And the school has a very active engagement with employers. And Vim has already highlighted the importance of, I suppose, what we would call kind of biopharma in Ireland. The top 10 pharmaceutical companies have a presence in Ireland, and Vim would have picked out some of those. But our focus is very much on what we would say kind of the biomanufacturing. Ireland currently has 85 plus biopharmaceutical companies, and we have at least 23, and that number keeps on changing, biomanufacturing sites. And Vim would have mentioned, the numbers in terms of the investment, in terms of the exports. Some of the recent, I suppose, new companies to relocate here to Ireland would be Wuxi, Mirror GTX, Abbott, Pfizer. Pfizer announced they currently have a huge facility and they've just announced an expansion. So they're actually going to duplicate what's currently on site with a new facility. Again, 70% of our graduates will enter biopharma roles. And just to give you kind of a snapshot, this is our class from last year. We typically divide class numbers, I know, into EU and non-EU. And this is our class last year, which had 20 students. Our current has 24 students, and you can see the division there between EU and non-EU. This is, I suppose, including a little bit more detail maybe than people, but I think it's just important when we talk about biomanufacturing, it's very much about manufacturing what we would call biologics. And the pharmaceutical companies in Ireland started here in the 1960s and 70s. And at the time, they were making what we would call small molecules. So they were drugs that were made using chemical synthesis. And then about 20 years ago, the industry began to move into what we now refer to as biologics, biopharmaceuticals. More recently, anybody who has been looking at developments in drugs in the news will see things like cell therapies, gene therapies. So let's say our portfolio of drugs has very much expanded. A lot of these new drugs are what we would call biologics because they're produced in cells. And this is just showing you kind of like a standard manufacturing process. And again, this shows you what we would call the upstream. And this is about the cells, engineering the cells and then growing them in what we would call bioreactors. And then we have what we call the downstream, which is where we actually isolate the drug or the product and we purify it. Now, on top of that, quite a number of our graduates would also be employed in designing new facilities. And not only just designing those facilities, but have been involved in the equipment, what we would call validation and commissioning. And again, this is just to give you an idea, similar to Vim, some of our graduates, some of the companies where they have recently obtained positions. And I've just kind of added here at the end some of the job titles. So obviously with a master's qualification, you're talking about what we would call an entry-level job. So they may be a bioprocess specialist, they may be a bioprocess associate, validation engineer, downstream specialist, quality engineer. Some of our students get job as what we call QA analysts, where they're involved in analysing the actual kind of final drug product. And obviously the expectation is that you start off with an entry level, and then as you gain experience, you then move to a more senior level. And then obviously some people would aim maybe to be even the site lead or director of the facility or whatever. So there's lots of opportunity to start off a job and then progress through a career. Now, in addition, I should also say that each year we have a small number of students who would go on to complete a PhD as well. Now, as Vim already mentioned, our programs are 1 calendar year. They are 90 credits. So in a typical program, you have what we call 12 kind of lecture modules or courses, and these are worth 60 credits. And then in the summer, in the 3rd trimester, we have the research project. Now within our program, and again, I know the slides and this has been recorded. So again, not really the detail of these. So typically in the 1st trimester, which is the autumn, so it starts in September, these are the modules that you look at. The animal cell culture technology, which is my own module. We have facility design, we have data analytics, analytical science, industry regulation and management. So similar to Vim, most of our modules are delivered by academics, but we also have outside experts, particularly things like facility design, regulation and management. And I think it's important that we involve people from outside of the school who can share the expertise with the students. In the spring, so the current trimester, students have 4 core modules, and they also spend, and this is the NIBRD, where they spend 3 days in NIBRD facility. We've also revised the course last year, and this is to take cognizance of new, what we would call treatment modalities. So we have a module on gene therapy, a module on GMP manufacturing, and again, we have another one on bioprocess design and bioprocess scale up and tech transfer, which again is delivered by somebody from MSD. I think there's somebody talking in the background, so maybe people could mute themselves. Or whoever's responsible for this, there's noise coming in. I can hear a conversation in the background. Perhaps you can mute all.
Sorry about that, Susan. You're muted. Yeah.
So hopefully I'm back again.
Yes.
In the summer trimester, we again have a project, and in our case, the project is either completed in one of the research labs, so an experimentally based project, or else we have a group project, which is a design project. And this is where students work in teams of 4 to 5, and they actually design a facility from scratch. So they look at what's involved in terms of the space and the requirement, in terms of things like what we would call the utilities, in terms of the equipment. So they have to develop a new facility for a new process or whatever. And the projects are offered by the school staff, plus also in NIBRD, the facility that I mentioned. These are just some testimonials, some graduate profiles. And you can see here, Thomas is working in Regeneron, Kate is working in Amazon. We also have an award, which a money award. So we have €1,500, which is awarded to the top students in the class. And this is the Brendan O'Callaghan Award, and this was awarded to one of our students, Cheryl Lim, and she's currently a PhD student in the actual school. So I think I'm done. So I think I will stop sharing, and I'll hand you over to Shamaka. So thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Susan. Thank you so much, Vim, for the wonderful presentation. I'm sure everybody got the information that they needed. So we're going to go straight into Q&A. So Gloria, if you can help me out with the questions. I can't see anything here. So if we have any questions, just help me out with them. Thank you. We can't hear you, Gloria.
Can you hear me now?
Yes.
All right. So thank you so much, everyone. Thank you, Wim. Thank you, Susan. That was quite impactful. That was quite So if you have any questions, can you please drop them? If you have questions about anything you want to ask the representatives, please drop them in the chat box and I'll be reading them out to Chiamaka and the team to quickly answer. So while we're on that, I want to quickly ask this question. What's the turnaround time for applications?
So I think that would be for me. Turnaround time is 2 to 4 weeks. During busy periods, it can take longer than that. But we try to give our agents priority in terms of processing applications. Now, if an application is referred to the school for the final decision, it can take longer than that. So you're looking at more than 6 weeks, probably 8 weeks to 9 weeks. Yeah, but generally we try to keep it at 2 to 4 weeks. Yeah.
All right. So what are the entry requirements? Do we have like a gap, a study gap?
Okay, so I'll allow Vim and Susan to talk more, but the general entry requirements is a 2-1 minimum. You're looking at a 2-1 minimum. You're looking at your personal statement, 2 reference letters, personal statement, 2 reference letter, and a CV. Now, some courses require extra things, so I will just hand over to Vim and Susan to highlight more on their courses and the entry requirements. Yeah.
Maybe I'll go first. So as Shamaka said, typically the entry requirement 2-1. Again, we would certainly encourage students upload CV, personal statements. Because our course is again open to both science and engineering students, any science discipline. So we normally look, the students will have done some basic modules in microbiology, maybe biochemistry, cell biology. Each year we also have a small number of students coming to us from an engineering background, and typically those students would be maybe on the process engineering side, and some of them may have done basic biology in first year, but it's very much on a case-by-case background. I mean, over the last few years, we've even had some mechanical engineers, so we're pretty much open. And as Shamaka said, those ones come to the school, and we do try and process them as soon as we can. But, you know, we look at them very much on an individual basis.
All right, so I want to ask if there's a study gap for
So, what do you mean by a study gap? Sorry.
Okay, let's say the person finished university about 10, 15 years ago.
Absolutely. We've had people who have, so a lot of our students come directly to us, but a lot of them come anything from, like 3, 4 years, 10 years, 15 years. Actually, I was just reviewing an application yesterday, and it's somebody who had graduated like 12 years ago. So we don't set a limit. And in fact, those individuals, oftentimes, because they have, some of them may have been working in the industry, they make them very, they're students we would actively be looking for.
Okay, so
all right,
can I add to this, so in addition to 2-1 for the biotechnology program, we would also like to have some evidence that the student has some practical experience, a laboratory experience, simply because for a placement in a company or do a research project in a laboratory here, you need to know how to work in a lab. So you need to have had practical experience during your undergraduate degree. That is for the biotechnology program.
Okay, so there's a question here. Someone's asking if they can apply with upper credits in HND.
No. So for HND, so HND VIM is like a higher national diploma. It's not up to a level 8. It's at a level 7 equivalent for the Irish standard. So for master's program, generally we don't accept level 7. Has to be a level 8 for a master's program. So if you're coming in with an HND, you have to come in first for an undergraduate program, then you can apply for a master's program. Yeah.
Okay, so what if somebody finishes with a high 2.2? Like 2.1 starts with 3.5. What if the person finished with 2.45, 2.48? Can the person still apply? Is it possible?
As a bachelor's or the HND, you mean?
Masters. I'm talking about masters now. You said the entry requirement is 2.1, right?
Yeah.
So I'm asking, what if the person finished with a higher 2.2?
High 2.2.
Like close to 2.1, like a 3.48, 3.45.
Just very close to the 3.5. Again, like Susan said, it's assessed on a case-by-case basis. So if, the person has met that and has good laboratory experience, for example, the school might, accept the person. If the person has good work experience as well, they might accept the person. So it's a case by case. We're not totally saying if you have a 2.2, don't apply. If you have something in addition to your 2.2, it'll be helpful to, include that in your application. So yeah.
All right. Okay. So please can you quickly run us through the payment options? Like, I'm sure that's what most people will be interested in.
Okay. So for the payment options, our fees range from 18 to 27,000 euros for an international student. You're allowed to pay in installments. Your first payment has to be at least 6,000 euros because you'll be applying for your visa as a Nigerian. So your first payment has to be at least 6,000 euros, and you can split the remaining payments by the 2 semesters. We also have an automatic discount scholarship given by the Global Center. It's given automatically, no separate application. So there's that as well. So generally, that's the payment plan. You can pay in full or you can pay installmentally.
All right. Thank you so much, Chiamaka. Let me see. Okay. This person is asking if the webinar is limited to just biotechnology courses. So
Sorry, was that a question? Did not hear.
Sorry, what did you say, Gloria? You're muted. Yeah.
Okay, the person was asking if the webinar is limited to only biotechnology courses.
No,
Well,
it's
yeah, it's not.
No, the webinar is about a number of master's programs, including biotechnology in business, biotherapeutics in business, and the master's programs delivered by the School of Engineering.
Yeah.
All right, I think we don't have any more questions. Please, I see some people were asking some questions yesterday. I don't know when I sent out a mail. Please, if you still have more questions, you could also drop them at the chat box, or you can send an email directly to me, and I will be replying all your questions if you don't want to ask them here. So in the absence of more questions, Chiamaka, don't know if you still have more things to talk about.
No, not really. From my end, no. I'll allow the 2 professors to talk after. But if you have questions, like Gloria said, just reach out to her, or you can also reach out to the Global Center. It's MEA, so M for mango, E for egg, A for apple, at ucd.ie, and we'll be happy to help you. But it's all good from my end. Thank you so much.
You're welcome. William, what about Susan? I don't know if you still have maybe a closing remark or something.
No, just again, the whole thing about the 2-1-2-2, again, it's really important. We look at all the applications as case by case. And your comment about the gap, often people coming in with work experience, even if they're very close to the 2-1 and only have a 2-2, we would make an offer. So, so hopefully, anyway, people have a better idea of the master's programs, I suppose, related to biotechnology and biopharmaceutical engineering in UCD, and we look forward to hopefully getting more applications.
Thank you so much, Susan. Thank you, Wim. Thank you, Chiamaka. So like I said earlier, if you're interested in any of these courses, if you're interested in starting your study process with University College Dublin, you can contact us. We'll help you sort out your documents, the requirements, and everything that needs to be done. And we will send the application directly to the university that trust us to deliver on our services.
Bye-bye.
Thank you so much,
so
everyone.
much.
This was quite an insightful session. Thank you. Have a great day, everyone.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye. Okay, hi, Candid. I see you have a question here. Unfortunately, I didn't get to see it, just dropped before I ended. So can you please, Candid, can you still hear me? I don't know if Candid is still on this call. Can you please send me an email directly?
Okay, I can hear you.
Okay, so you were asking, you said you have bachelor's degree in human physiology, of class, and a postgraduate diploma in education.
Yes.
Okay, so send me a mail. We could check for other universities that could likely take what you have right now.
Okay, your email address?
It's gloria.o@studyinuk.com.
Okay.
All right, thank you so much. Send me your email with your phone number and your email address so that one of our counselors will reach out to you directly and will find better options for you.
Do I send it here?
No, you can send it directly to my mail.
Okay. Okay.
All right.
So
Thank you
the
so much.
study in UK is the study in UK